It's a good thing we're not doing video, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because as far as everyone listening right now is aware from what I'm about to say right now, you two are both naked and covered in a light olive oil.
Just enough.
I like olive oil.
Not even like
in a Roman bathhouse.
Not even like a cold pressed or anything though. It's like a cheap, like fourth run hot pressed olive oil.
Damn.
I know.
We couldn't even splurge on a decent bottle.
No, not unless you pay the Patreon. Dude, you pay the Patreon, you get that first run cold pressed, nice and grassy. Oh, listen to that microphone noise as it drags across the table.
I know, I was going to say, like,
God damn.
Well, it's not like, it's going to be included.
Oh, we'll
stay out late to gastrobate and hang out with our friends. We'll share a few good microbrews, the good times never end. From seaside to the mountains, we'll travel many lands. Eateth of their pub cuisine and hear their local bands. We'll drink it from a bottle in a can or what's on tap. We'll rate each brew as we do with fairness and a map. Spirits are up, we'll fill our cup, the wind is in our sails. We'll drunkenly mix metaphors and travel hoppy trails.
Welcome back to Hoppy Trails, a show where really you should pay more attention because when we're out here drinking these beers and eating this food, it's for your benefit.
Obviously.
I'm
Nick.
I'm Travis, and today we have a special guest with us. And why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, special guest?
Also Nick.
Yes, also Nick, which is designed to cause confusion. And so what we're going to do is we're going to refer to our original traditional Nick as Huey and our new and, I don't know, not really improved, but shorter bearded Nick we'll refer to as Fox.
That was not true at some point in life.
He did have, at one point, he had a longer beard than me.
Yeah. Well, things change.
I trimmed to look professional during interviews, and then lo and behold, none of my interviews required video. So it was all for nothing.
Yeah. I actually groomed myself for this show for the exact same reason. I don't want
true. It's a very fantastic
listeners
beard
to see us. So we're out here on a road trip, on a getaway. Part of the reason for that is because Huey is getting married.
Yeah, I would say that. Well, I mean, it's funny because I just found out recently that the officiant for this upcoming event, it's going to be treated as a vow renewal.
A vow renewal.
Yeah, because we got married.
You're already
on
married.
The date that's going to happen.
That's right.
Exactly a year ago. So it'll be our first anniversary. And we get to have a giant party with all our friends and family.
Yeah.
For our first anniversary. So it'll be pretty nice.
Yeah. So it's, you got married already, but now we're having the reception and the party portion, and that's coming up.
Exactly.
And so the three of us, we're out here on the Hoppy Trail doing a little celebration beforehand. And where are we, gentlemen?
We're in Bend, Oregon.
Bend, Oregon. And for those who don't know, where the fuck is Bend, Oregon?
It's just on the other side of the mountains, Cascade Mountains to be exact, from Eugene, Oregon.
Cascade, a word you may have heard from the Cascade hop.
Yes.
So, tying things together.
Intriguing.
Knowledge point.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Do you have that button on the soundboard, the more you know button?
I don't, but I can easily add one.
We're gonna need it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're on some new equipment. Aren't
we are. We're first sale with this Rode podcaster mixer here.
Yeah.
We're recording directly to a memory card and hoping everything records fine and for transfer later. So we're effing around and finding out.
That's right.
Fucking around and finding out.
That's right. And so either we're all doing a bunch of talking that no one else is ever going to fucking hear, or it's recording seamlessly, and this is going to be a great show that everyone's going to love.
Totally.
Oh, in an hour.
That's right. We'll know in an hour.
Upgrade in equipment, downgrade in sound editing.
Yeah, we're also in a house that's not ours in Bend, Oregon, that my great friend Nick here got for us for the weekend.
Yes.
And the acoustics are not ideal, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and oddly enough, through the website where we acquired this rental, they don't have a star rating for acoustics, do they?
No, they don't.
No. So
they also don't really tell you that it has kind of this cleanly vibe like American Psycho about it.
Oh my God, it does.
It's a little too clean.
It does have an American Psycho vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I will not be able to sleep tonight.
Should we get a black light for tomorrow?
I think we probably should. Yeah.
Those are business cards. Are those up to par?
That's right. What is that, eggshell?
I do have this guy here.
Yeah. Wow. I love the new equipment. Now, here's something that listeners won't know. Fox does not have headphones on. And so Fox has no idea what sound Nick just played. So you're going to have some surprises in about an hour when we listen to this back.
Well, I mean, that assumes I'm going to listen with you.
Fox is like, I'm never listening to this fucking show. What are you talking about? This show's terrible.
And bringing me on it was the last thing that you'll ever do.
Absolutely not.
Well, so what are we drinking right now?
These cans that you picked up.
Yeah.
Is it a cherrywood smoked ale?
Yeah, cherrywood smoked ale.
This is a beautiful, beautiful glass of beer.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Out of Spider City, one of the places we'll talk about that we got to on the Hoppy Trail today.
And it's actually not too far down the Hoppy Trail from where we're staying here.
No, it's not.
That's very convenient.
Yeah. You, Fox, you picked a great place for us. I mean, we're walking distance to this brewery.
Yeah, it was totally planned.
They had a plethora of options as well.
Oh yeah.
I was a little overwhelmed initially. But.
Yeah. No, it's a great place. It was our second stop. Well, it was our first stop, but then turned into our second stop.
Yes.
Well, no. Let's really bring it back. Let's bring it back to the beginning here, boys, because you picked me up over in Black Butte Ranch, and first place we stopped was in Sisters.
Yep.
And we stopped at that place. What was that called?
The Barn in
Yeah.
Sisters. So it's a little tap room, some food carts all around. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, that was a good spot. Nice little place, not huge, newer, right? You said it's been there for maybe about a year, something like that.
I think so. It's maybe about a year, 2 years old.
Yeah,
It's been a while. I don't think it was there when we were in Sisters last a couple of years ago. But.
Yeah. They had some food trucks. It was really, really cold outside, but they did have a fire going, right? A big fire pit.
They did.
They did, and they had some food trucks. A couple of options. There was a wood-fired pizza. There was like a taco. There was it looked like a vegetarian or vegan type option.
Yeah. And then
which
the
I
option
walked right past.
Yeah. And then the option that we went with, which is some barbecue. Really great brisket.
What's that place called?
I think
Pops?
Pete's or Pops.
I think it was Pops.
Pops Southern Barbecue.
Yeah. Yeah, the Pops Southern Barbecue, and they had 2 Traegers out back. So
Did they really?
Yep, 2
okay.
Traegers.
Nice.
Looked like was it the Ironwood? I think it looked like a couple of Ironwoods out back there. So definitely running their business. We got the brisket sandwiches.
Yeah.
Solid brisket.
Some pretty solid brisket.
Yeah, that was good brisket. Absolutely. It definitely had a good smoke flavor. I don't know. I was thinking maybe they were using maybe not like a hickory pellet, but something that had quite a bit more smoke flavor to it than I'm used to. Not just your kind of standard blend. So
Probably some oak.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was nice.
I got some oak pellets hiding somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oak pellets in Oregon? No.
What are you talking about?
What do you guys have, some trees up here or something like that?
We have a few oak trees.
Couple of trees. Yeah. Very good. You guys got the sweet barbecue sauce. I got the spicy. Spicy wasn't really hot, I wouldn't say, but definitely peppery, and it was nice. Definitely liked it. It was on kind of a small round bun, which was okay, but with the
Honestly, I wasn't sure if there was a bun there because they put so much brisket on it.
yes, yeah. The bun was kind of almost
So
like a
I'm
handle.
glad that we
It's-
definitely
yeah.
got our money's worth of brisket there.
Oh yeah,
Also, the potato chips are actually pretty good.
yeah,
This is the homemade
their
potato
house-made
chips.
kettle chips. Those were pretty tasty.
yeah. Those were pretty outstanding. I didn't know what to expect with them, but they were definitely very good.
Good texture. I thought they were going to be a lot greasier than they actually were compared to like regular like home in-house fried potato chips.
Yeah, I feel like when you get the house-made chips, sometimes they can be hit or miss. Like sometimes they can be a little bit soggy and floppy. These were deliciously crispy. I thought a good thickness on the cut, and like you said, not too greasy. I thought they were good. Yeah. Definitely a place I would go back there and get their brisket again.
I would for sure.
Yeah. So then after we did that, we hopped back on the Hoppy Trail, headed down to Bend. And as we said, we wanted to start off with this City Brewing, but we got there around 2:00, and there was a problem. There was a tragedy. Really,
They weren't open.
they weren't open. They didn't open until 3 o'clock on a Friday during our holiday.
Although, to be fair, I mean, a lot of breweries, even in California, they're not usually not opening up until like 3 o'clock.
How dare you? Take that back, Nick. You take that back.
Dude, there's quite a few. I can name one that unfortunately isn't around anymore. But Golden State.
Oh, yeah, Golden State. They were a great spot.
They were.
They really
were an awesome
were.
spot. But yeah, they didn't open up till like 3 or 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and they were right near the university too. So that was surprising. They would have had a good, good market.
Sometimes you got to open up later in the day when you're producing that many amazing beers.
They were producing a lot of amazing
Spider
beers.
City, whoo, man.
Well,
like
definitely
I said, that menu was overwhelming.
I mean, they had a lot more beers than the place that we actually went to first because Spider City not open. We thought, well, we've got an hour to kill, so we went around. I mean, basically around the corner, right? Not very far to get to.
That was like a couple blocks away, I think.
Bevel, right?
Yeah, Bevel.
Yeah, a couple of blocks. And Bevel's a cool spot. Much smaller brewery. Much smaller. I think I talked to the guy who said their system's a 7-barrel system.
Yeah.
And they are turning out a whopping 520 barrels a year, which is on the smaller end.
Yeah.
And he was talking about their production is 90% sold across their own bar.
Across the tap bar, yeah. They 10%.
Don't do.
He said they had a little bit of distribution going to local spots, but he didn't say they had a lot.
Yeah, very little. And I would imagine they're probably running the kegs over there themselves.
Yeah.
I said they don't really do much canning in the 4 years they've been open. They've canned a couple of times. I don't remember what he said, but really rarely. It's rare that they do any canning.
Yeah.
They don't have their own canning equipment. It's mostly just kegs for their own tap room. Yeah. And so we jumped in there. We grabbed, did we do a one of everything?
I think we almost.
Yeah, pretty
Almost.
Pretty
I think
close.
there were 11 beers on tap, and we were able to get 10 with the tasters.
Yeah, because they've got their flight is 5, right?
Yeah, five.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we filled one of those up and looked on the board and we were like, well, why don't we just
do all of
why
them?
don't we just get 2? Let's just run through this. Yeah. Yeah, and they had some excellent beers. They definitely had some good stuff. Trying to think, what were we looking at? There were so many.
The Vietnamese coffee.
The
milk
Vietnamese
stout.
coffee one.
Yes.
I felt like that was the winner for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Was that the highlight for everybody?
I think so.
Yeah.
I actually really liked the what was it? I gotta look at the list. No, that's Huey's. Was it the first run?
I think
First
they were
run.
kind of
First run
mixed up
IPA I thought was like a solid second for me.
Yeah.
Just because that was like that's like the crystal definition for me as like a baseline IPA. It's like this is what an IPA should be. It's not overly hopped to like dull all of your taste buds. You can still it has a good flavor. It has good aroma. It hit the spot. It was a tasty IPA that was also very refreshing all in itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Vietnamese coffee one was just like, whew, that was on point.
The first run IPA, 6.8%, using Simcoe and Amarillo hops, and they use those both in the boil, in the whirlpool, as they say, as well as in a dry hop. So just getting all the qualities of both of those 2 hops. They're great hops. They're good traditional hops. They've been around for a long time for a reason, and they make a solid IPA. And 6.8%, and it was not super malt forward, but yeah, I thought a good bout. Not too much bitterness, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, definitely a solid beer.
It's the first IPA I've had in a long time that I felt like I could drink it while eating food and not feel
full.
like it's going to overfill or like overflood my taste buds with pure hops in your face.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy. Not everybody listens is where we are on the West Coast. On the West Coast, it's hops are where it's at. They are. That's the driving force. You go into anywhere and they will have maybe 1 or 2 porter and stouts. They'll have like a couple of sours and this and that, and they're going to have like 7 or 8 IPAs, right? I mean, that's just kind of how things are going right now. And differentiate a lot of them. It is just a really big hop kick, and sometimes I love that, right? But as you're saying, this is one that's like, hey, this one's a little more dialed back, real pleasant, kind of a session beer, almost, if you will. Mm-hmm. Like you said, one that you can eat with the food, and it's not going to overpower everything. Yeah, definitely a good beer. But let's talk about this Midnight Flyer, man. That Vietnamese coffee milk stout. That was a unique beer.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely reminded me of drinking Vietnamese coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Vietnamese coffee, for anyone who hasn't had it, I mean, give them a breakdown.
So basically, it's strong coffee. Then they add condensed milk to it.
Condensed milk. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got this real kind of like, it's a lot thicker and more like, I don't know, it's more filling than just like a regular cup of coffee with some milk and some sugar. And it's just, I think it blends a little bit better with the actual coffee itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they nailed that one flavor wise.
It almost has the texture of
it does.
Stout.
Yes. Yes. Right.
So funny that they
see
put
what you
those
did
two
there.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the Vietnamese coffee definitely, as you both said, it has that like heaviness, a thickness, right? It's like a coffee you can chew, but it's really that good balance. It's not too bitter of a coffee as some coffees can be, but it's still really strong at the same time. And that Midnight Flyer, excellent. They looks like they're using 6 gallons of cold brewed Vietnamese coffee per 7-barrel batch. So I mean, they're putting that coffee in there. It's really coming in present. And then they're also using the darker malts and like that to get a lot of that really dark color coming in. And but again, it didn't have that bitterness, right?
No. Well, it's impressive that they use the actual like coffee itself, like the Vietnamese coffee itself in the brewing process, because that mixture alone with trying to get the Vietnamese coffee to taste appropriate and just blend well all in itself is a big challenge altogether. So to be able to take that process of fine tuning that into something that's very good and palatable, and then actually bake that into a brew is, I don't know, that's some pretty next level effort.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and something a lot of people maybe don't realize is when you get a coffee stout, sometimes it has coffee in it, sometimes it doesn't, right? Because there are malts that will recreate some of those flavors and aromas and colors and like that. And so sometimes a coffee stout is just talking about the color and aromas and flavors. It doesn't mean there's coffee. Sometimes there is. And in this case, actually using that coffee, as you were saying, bringing it in, trying to get that balance and get it just right. They did a great job with it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a lot of variables we bring in kind of under one hat. Yeah. Yeah, definitely good. I thought, using the milk sugars in there, like you guys said, is recreating the condensed milk, and yeah, excellent. That I think for all of us, like we said, that was the highlight, right?
Did they happen to have any of that in can?
They didn't have anything in cans. We could have gotten
that's right.
Crowlers. Yeah. And what was that? Okay, since we're talking Crowlers and stuff.
And growlers, yeah.
What the hell was that giant
When he
growler?
referred to it as the Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut.
128 ounce.
That
was massive growler.
Huge. And the
metal insulated growler, yeah.
The person that brought it in, dude, that huge gnarly handle.
Well, you need it for that giant thing.
Dude, you got 10 pounds of stout in there.
Is that what he had it filled with? Was the...
Oh, Jesus, I don't know. I don't know what they put in there. Can you imagine having a gallon of stout to take home? And it's in a growler, right? Because once you crack that thing open, you got to start drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing was pretty massive. They said it comes with the attachment so that you can pop the little CO2 cartridge on it, pressurize it for dispensing.
Oh, so it is one of those.
It is.
No, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. And the guy was funny. He's like, "Oh yeah, you can put a whippet in it." I'm like, "Listen, I don't think it's not a whippet, man. Like, it's a CO2 cartridge. Just settle down there, friend."
Well, no, technically it would be the nitrous cartridge. Nitro.
Well, if it was a nitro, but I think that one is a CO2.
It was CO2.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same CO2. I'm sorry, I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, dude's over there. He's like, "Oh yeah, I mean, you just like get this cracker in a balloon, and it's like a whole thing."
We've never done that before. It's fine.
Hoppy Trails does not endorse any usage of whipped cream canister refills.
Except for whipped cream.
Except for whipped cream, yes.
Yeah.
Outside of the instructions on the box.
My wife's a baker, so if I didn't like give leniency towards whipped cream and CO2, I'd be dead.
Well, what else did we like from there? We had the other two that I put on my list here was the Risk Rewards Red Lager. I put that on there, which they had 2 reds, right? Didn't they have? No, they had 2 lagers and one of them was a red. That's what it was. Now, these guys don't have any lagering tanks. And so, for folks who don't know, lager uses a different yeast than an ale, right? There's ale yeast and there's lager yeast, and most of what we drink is ales. And the ale yeast floats at the top, and it either floats at the top of the... Listen, one of the two of them goes at the top, and the other one goes at the bottom. And I'm not going to pick which one because I'll be wrong and I'll get corrected. But what I do know is this. Ale yeast ferments at more of a room temperature, and lager yeast likes to be really cold. And if lager yeast gets warm, they start putting off some different flavors. And ale yeast, if they're too cold, they go slower, they'll stop fermenting or whatever. Now, lagering tanks are tanks that are designed to keep the beer down at a low lager fermenting temperature so that you get that real clean, nothing from the yeast, you get that clean lager crispness. But what they're doing is they don't have lagering tanks, but they are fermenting it colder than a standard ferment, but not down at lager temperatures. And so that gives you a little bit more unique flavor that you won't find in a lager. And then also using the red, using that different malt. Very creative usage here. Definitely a little, I don't want to say it's reminiscent of Anchor Brewing steam beer, but that was kind of the concept. They wanted to make lagers. They were out in San Francisco. They couldn't get the temperatures low enough, so they just made lagers at regular temperature, and it makes for a great beer. And it was had an Anchor steam. You know what it is. Not that temperature, so not those same flavors, but a similar concept of using a yeast in the way it's not designed to and coming up with a unique beer. Mm-hmm. Right? That was a 5.8. It was a solid beer.
Yeah, it was. It was very good.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting one. And then the Ocho, right?
The Ocho.
The Ocho.
That was pretty good. I'm glad I don't know, I guess it was kind of a hazy to it, but that one was actually fairly mellow. There was no bitterness to it, more citrusy. Although I'm not too sure what hops they had going on in there, but
you know what hop they had in there? It's one called Idaho 8. Which its official name is Experimental Idaho 158 from Jackson Farms in Wilder, Idaho. It's a new hop.
So that's why it's called the Ocho.
That's why it's called the Ocho.
Nice.
But a new kind of experimental hop that I guess is proprietary, and this one place is growing it. And the hop has I guess like flavors of honey and apricot and things like that, kind of subtle notes as well as the citrus. And I don't know. What do you think? Did you pick up a lot of that?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was definitely a good one. Like I said, very mellow. Like that's something I could definitely drink all day. And what was the ABV on it?
Yeah, that was a 5.8. So I mean,
that's
easy. Easy all day beer for sure.
Totally.
Yeah, nice and sessionable. Yeah, and to our surprise, we drank a bunch of beers, and these guys, I guess they met playing pro disc golf.
Professional disc golf.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how they all met and got started.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, they toss a couple of discs on the table for us, and they've got a little 18-hole
putting course
in the back. Course. Yeah. 2 baskets, 18 positions.
I had no idea. I'd been there before. I had no idea. Like, because, it's like a little kind of wagon train of food carts there.
Yeah.
Bunch of tables and a fire pit in the middle.
Yeah.
And then you go beyond the food carts out back, and they've got this, there's a few trees there and everything, and a nice little disc golf putting course.
Yeah.
I've never played disc golf before, but talking about it with our friend Fox here, I've been looking for something to get into, and I think I found my groove. I clearly suck at it, but there was a few times where I made it directly into the basket.
There you go.
The best part is you don't have to be good at it. You just have to be able to A, drink beer, and B, throw something while you walk.
Yeah. I mean, it's and Fox. Fox says that because Fox is a professional. Let me tell you,
I am absolutely
Fox
not
is highly decorated at disc golf. This man is world renowned. Really. Shit. I mean, he's a regular dude like us, but plays disc golf. So has more experience. Disc golf it's great. It's a fun game. Like you said, it's just something you can do and chill. Some people are more into it and get real serious. Other people don't, and it doesn't really matter. You just be as intense as you want to be or as chill as you want to be.
Yeah, I appreciated their approach to the brewery and the tap house in general, and just taking two things that they're clearly passionate about and merging those together and making just an awesome product of it all. I mean, it shows down to literally the way that they organize all of the parts for their brewing and everything. I mean, it's meticulously organized, and everything is just very perfect and has its place, and it's a very well put together tap room and brew.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Really cool guys.
Yeah.
The one fella stopped by the table and chatted with us a little bit, and just it was a good vibe. It was a really good vibe. I liked it there.
Totally.
Yeah,
Great spot.
yeah. So yeah, definitely. I recommend it. Get out there to Bevel and play some disc golf, and you don't have to bring your own discs, right? They've got discs.
Yeah, they've got some disc loaners. Yeah. I mean, it looks like
They
they
actually
also
also
sell.
have a shop in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So if you want to buy some discs, they've got those, and yeah, it was definitely cool. Yeah, I think in the summer they've got hop trellis growing out there too, and so anyway, a real fun place. Yeah. All right. Well, before we go any further down the Hoppy Trail, why don't we take a quick break for a trail report from our roving reporter Billy P. out of South Carolina, or Oh Billy as he's known around the Discord server and as he's known around my heart. Billy, what do you got out there?
Hi, everybody. This is Billy with a Hoppy Trails Trail Report from the East Coast. This past weekend, I had the joy of celebrating my 19th wedding anniversary with my beautiful wife down in Charleston, South Carolina. When we arrived in town, we met up with a buddy from the Beer Keller Discord. Brandon recommended the Whale Collective and Tasting Room on Meeting Street. The outside's typical Old South, but the inside is an eccentric, groovy Art Deco style with a music venue connected to the open-air bar. I love architecture, and this place was pretty cool. Interestingly, I've never visited either of the other Whale locations. Both of those are much closer to my house, as they are in Greenville, South Carolina, and Asheville, North Carolina. Based on recommendations from the Hoppy Trails Discord, we sampled the Yuzu Pilsner from OEC Brewing, All Cells Ripped Stout from Nirg Nur, and Dunkel Dark Lager, also from OEC Brewing. Of the three, my wife preferred the Yuzu. It's brewed with Pilsner and Carapils malts with the Yuzu juice added during the boil. I settled on the delicious German-style Dunkel with its touch of chocolate and rye malt, and Brandon preferred the All Cells Ripped Stout. It had a beautiful color and aroma, with the flavors of dark chocolate, licorice, and prunes. He described it as very smooth with a nice, sweet finish. So, the next time you're in the Carolinas, don't miss the Whale. They have this expansive collection of rare beers, wines, ciders, meads, seltzers, and sakes. So you're sure to find something to your liking, and I know you're going to enjoy all the sampling in the process.
Do you often find yourself at the crossroads with no idea which way to go? Do you struggle with philosophical quandaries over the meaning of existence and your own mortality? Do you ever find yourself wondering who would win in a fight between the Ghostbusters and the Ninja Turtles? Then Ask Cody Cricket is the podcast for you. Join me, your eponymous and possibly anthropomorphic giant cricket, and let me be your guide through all of life's many struggles and questions. Each week, I give honest, thoughtful, sometimes funny, and hopefully helpful answers to listeners' questions. No topic is too irreverent nor too deep. From relationships to potato chips, it never hurts to ask.
Are you a new parent trying to find your way?
Or are you thinking of becoming a new parent and want to know what to expect?
Or do you not plan on having kids but just want to know what it's like?
Nobody without kids wants to know what it's like.
I'm Travis.
I'm Stephanie.
And we have just the show for you.
You, Me, and Squeeze, a new podcast where we explore the challenges of being new parents and everything we learn along the way. We'll talk about our experiences, different parenting philosophies and trends, giving our own perspectives, and talking about what worked for us and what didn't.
Let's face it, a lot has changed since our parents and grandparents were raising kids. So we're all kind of figuring out this new frontier for ourselves, and it can feel pretty lonely. So come join us for the journey where sometimes we'll laugh, sometimes we'll cry, but we'll always be real with you.
You, Me, and Squee. It beats listening to your childless aunt give her 2 cents.
Or any of your aunts, really. All right, thank you, Billy, for another amazing Hoppy Trails trail report from out there in the field. We really appreciate it. Definitely makes us want to make a trip out to see you in person, grab a pint. We're going to put together a merch pack to send out to you as a thank you. And if anybody else wants to get in on the fun, please feel free to record a 30 to 120 second audio talking about breweries, beer, food, whatever you did for an adventure. Let us know what we're missing out there. 30 to 120 seconds translates to 1.5 to 2 minutes for anybody that didn't want to do the math. Anyways, we were out there on the Hoppy Trail up in Bend, Oregon. We had just finished up with one brewery. And so then We left there, and we went back over to Spider City. Spider City was open this time, so we went inside, and we drank some beers.
Yeah.
Drank a lot of beers.
Lots of great beers.
We had a lot of great beers. What, Fox, read us off that list.
Oh, man. I can't even read her handwriting.
Let me try.
Go for it.
Let's see what we've got here, Huey.
So we have a Soleil Rubus.
Oh, yeah, that was, wasn't that like some kind of a mixed berry sour or something like that?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Even from a guy that hates sours, though, like that one was pretty good.
Yeah.
I could maybe drink a bottle of that. Maybe not repeatedly, but I could drink a bottle of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Lime Goes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that
That
lime
was
goes
pretty good.
with kaffir lime leaf.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
which is something that's hard to come by. I've used in cooking different times. When I was in San Diego, there was a spot that I could get it fresh, but it's kind of hard to find. So I'm impressed that they have enough.
That actually reminded me somewhat to. I think I've gotten it for you before from, was it Full Circle Brewing in Fresno? Their Lime 30 Lager.
Lime 30 Lager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yes.
strong lime to it, but not overbearing.
Yes.
And it wasn't like, crazy tart, but it was just enough to
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's an excellent beer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then the Barrel Age Currant.
Yes.
That was delicious. I know somebody who would absolutely love that because they love currant juice.
Yeah.
Mr. Surge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. and they're barrel aging in house right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You even pointed out they have, those little small fermenters that they had there.
Yes.
For all their experimental brewing and everything.
That's right.
That was pretty cool. They have a lot going on there.
They have a ton going
They
on.
do,
Yeah.
and it's all super hidden behind everything. Like the canning station, I didn't realize it was
Wouldn't
there
even
until
know the
after she
canning
had
station was
mentioned it.
there.
Yeah.
And then you have to look behind the barrels that they're aging the beers in order to find it. It's yeah.
It
You
was
could
a
spend
great
an
use of
hour in
the
there
space.
just looking around and still find the ways that they're using that space.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The Black Sea Salt Baltic Porter.
Oh,
That one, yeah.
That was good. And
that
it was
was a
on
hit.
Nitro as well.
yeah.
That was good. Yeah.
Nitro
it
and
makes it a little
CO2.
bit
That was
better.
a
Yeah.
hit.
The cheat code.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the CO2 was really good, but the nitro just, man, that was next level for that porter.
Yeah.
It was just made it so good.
Let's see here. We have American Strong. I think that was just their American Strong.
Yeah. Yeah. We had
It
their
was called
American Strong.
Yeah. Grazing Goat.
Yeah. That wasn't that one of their IPAs?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Sneaky Deer.
Sneaky Deer.
Now there's one that's not on the list.
Yeah.
That we just only got a small taster of when we first got there.
Yeah.
Because this one she said that
Yeah, it's
she's
made,
not a fan of IPAs, but she loves this beer.
Yeah.
also brewed with the Carolina Reaper.
Yeah. And then that one was called Fear the Deer.
Fear the Deer.
Fear the
Yes.
Fear the
Yeah.
Deer.
That's right.
And it's brewed with Carolina Reaper.
Carolina
peppers.
Reaper.
Honestly, I was a little concerned at first to try it, but I let Fox try it first. and
Yeah.
he seemed pretty cool after, so I was like, all right, let's give it a whirl.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because we were talking. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. We were talking about like beers. The one time you had left a beer and you couldn't finish it. For
Yeah.
me, that was a jalapeno beer that I had at Anderson Valley Brew Fest.
Yeah.
Years and years and years ago. It's like take a sip and just not for me.
Yeah.
But this one, man, they did a great job of like mellowing down the spice of it to where
You wouldn't even
it's
know it was
there.
Carolina
Yeah,
Reaper,
well,
other than
yeah.
like the flavors, but
it's there and it's a building spice. Like it hits you pretty instantly, but also is very manageable. But it doesn't dilute the IPA flavor at all. Like
Yeah.
it's just like it adds a really nice kind of like smoky flavor from the pepper itself with that nice, like real solid hot sauce bite to it.
Yeah.
That just it was a very interesting flavor and experience.
definitely. And like a Reaper, it was a creeper here.
Yeah.
But it it was the aftertaste, and it just slowly built up long after you swallowed. But yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I would definitely go back for more.
You know, it's funny. We're starting to see more chili beers going on, and as you all know, Nick, you and I were member owners of Umunhum Brewing in San Jose, And one of the longtime board presidents, Bob, would always make the joke is he wasn't really a brewer. He was a beer drinker. He wasn't a brewer. And so anytime we were brewing, he would make the joke of, all right, when do we throw in the chili peppers? That was kind of his joke. and the thing is, because back in those days, 10 years ago, you weren't seeing a lot of chili beers. You weren't. And I think that some people would try it out and it wouldn't really go well. And it wasn't really a hit. There was a place called, I think El Toro Brewing that I went to. They're not around anymore. But they had a Scorpion, I want to say, I think a Scorpion beer, and it was okay, but I wasn't going to drink more than like an 8-ounce pour of it. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I'll have this. It was kind of a novelty. And I feel like we're getting better at the chili beers to where, it's something that we're like, okay, this is something that I can actually, I may grab a 4Z of these, keep them in the fridge, and I'm not going to slam all 4 of them down, but, I'll have a full pour of it, and maybe I'll have another one tomorrow, or you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's a lot of experimental beers in general, though, right? I mean, it's like there's a difference between like enjoying one glass of it versus wanting to buy a 4-pack. And even if you're buying a pack of them, it's not like you're going to drink all of them in a night. It's more of I'm going to crack one open here, crack one open there. But I'd have picked up a pack of that for sure.
Yeah.
They also had they said there's another variant of it that's not the Carolina Reaper. It's the Serrano pepper.
Serrano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the...
We didn't get that one because they said
I know,
they
but
were
it was
out,
something. It wasn't a deer one. It was based off of the grazing goat, I think.
Is that what it was?
That what it is?
Yeah. So it was some other goat one or whatever.
Yeah, and like you said, with the Serrano chilies,
and pineapple.
And pineapple.
And
that's
pineapple,
what it was.
that's
what it
Serrano
was.
pineapple. And Serrano is, for people who aren't chili heads, the Serrano comes from kind of a slightly different family of chilies, and so it has a different flavor to it than the super hots. They have that. I think it's called capsicum chinense or chinense, which is a Chinese lineage, and they have a really unique flavor. So you get a ghost chili, you get a scorpion, you get a Carolina Reaper, something like that. It's got that unique flavor to it. Whereas a Serrano, very different, more of almost like a vegetal. It's going to be closer to a jalapeno kind of, but with a different heat level.
I was gonna say, if you've ever had a jalapeno that's grown improperly, not like I've grown them improperly before, but if you can get one without the spice, it tastes basically identical to like a bell pepper. So I mean, like when you talk about like the base flavor of it minus all the spice, like that's kind of what it is. Whereas like ghost peppers and things like that tend to have a little bit more of like a smoky kind of flavor just inherently built into them. It's real weird.
Yeah, it's definitely unique. It's definitely something that when you eat or drink something that has one of those in it, you know it. You know what family of chilies you're dealing with. Yeah. And then the heat slowly starts to build up, and then it turns into an emergency many times.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't get that with this though. I thought it was very well controlled.
Mellow heat. Yeah. Honestly, like I said, I was expecting worse, but it was very balanced.
Yeah, I love it. That was not even like the beer that we were all the most impressed with. We've spent like more time on that than any other beer, but it was good. It was unique, and they're doing a good job with it. I recommend it. But I think we all again the same one stood out to us, right? That sea salt Baltic porter.
Yeah, I like that because it was
dark beers
being
like the winners of today.
For sure.
Yeah.
It reminded me of like eating salty pretzels while you're also drinking like a really nice beer with some body to it, where it's like I didn't have to eat while I'm drinking. It's all in a cup. So it felt like it was a nice thing to hold in your hand and like taste.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. Really, really good balance. Like you're saying, it's hitting a lot of those points. And that's like, they talk about if you can get a balance with, sweet and spicy and salty. And, when there's those different flavor categories and when you can combine them and get them into balance. And so I think adding that sea salt definitely added that kind of extra balance that you're not going to find a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what would you guys think about kind of the weight of that one? As far as thickness, mouthfeel, things like that.
To me, or at least for me, it wasn't that your typical thick, like porter. But
so that's why I hesitate, right? Because like for me, like porters have never been. If you want like a thick dark beer, it's supposed to be a stout. But like porters aren't supposed to be, in my mind at least,
heavy,
like
thick,
very thick and syrupy. And this is the first one I've had in a long time that didn't kind of make me go like, I feel like maybe this should be classified as a stout rather than a porter because it's really thick like a stout. Like I couldn't drink multiple of these in a night. Whereas the porter, like this one had like had it to where it was like I could have drank 2 or 3 of those in a sitting.
Did we get those in cans?
We got.
Oh, that's right. It was a crowler.
We got a crowler of the CO2, not the nitro.
Yeah.
So in house we were drinking the nitro, and then we've got the CO2 to take home. We did grab a taste before we left.
Yeah.
But it is interesting you say that because the stout and porter, they're wide-ish categories and they overlap a little bit, right? As far as what you're saying with the thickness and the heaviness and color and like that, they overlap a little bit. And I've found like you and Hugh, I think you probably found this too, that the people that are making porters are making them on the stoutier side and, either right up at that edge of the category or even bleeding over a little bit and still calling it a porter. And you don't really, as you said, see as much of the lighter end of it.
Yeah.
Definitely. This was definitely one that you wouldn't confuse for a stout.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And the nitro just gave it that nice kind of creamy, buttery sort of texture added in on top of it. The CO2 was really good, but the nitrous is really, I don't know if you can get that other than just getting it on tap with them, but it's.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I don't know how. Have you ever grabbed one in a crowler on a nitro tap and taken it home? I don't think I've ever grabbed a nitro tap into a crowler.
I have, but I don't think it will last as long.
Yeah,
as like what CO2 does.
Yeah. I feel like,
but even still, like usually CO2 in a crowler, you're maybe a week at best.
Yeah,
unopened.
Yeah. They're not long lasting for sure.
But with nitro, I think it's maybe like you got like 24, 48 hours to get it before it starts going flat. Yeah.
That would be my feel of it.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I've never grabbed one on the crowler. And it's one of those things that I think is potentially harder to do when you're canning if you have your own canning line. I think canning with the nitro is probably difficult as well. I don't know. I haven't really looked into that as much.
I feel like I've had some in the past, though.
You have to use the little packs, right? You have to use the little nitro packs in there.
Yeah, the
Guinness.
Like Guinness. What do they call it? Not the widget. They call it something.
Yeah, it's a rocket widget.
Rocket widget. Yeah. So
but that doesn't have anything in it. That just basically, it's looks like a little plastic rocket.
Yeah.
And when you flip the can over to pour it properly, that rocket floats in the opening. So it kind of gives the effect as if the beer is coming out of a nitro tap.
Is that what that does?
Yes.
So that's just for shaping the pour.
Correct. There's no nitro in that.
I always wondered, I'm like,
really
how the hell does this thing work?
Yeah. Science.
For so long, I'm like, and then somehow this little plastic thing
that would cost
has
so
nitrogen
much money
in it.
With all these little plastic rockets with nitro in it.
I don't know, man. I haven't had a Guinness in a long time, man.
Can of Guinness costs like $10.
I was trying to think of cans that actually had the thing that I was thinking of, and I'm like Guinness and Boddingtons.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Boddingtons. Man,
Boddingtons.
I haven't had one of those in a while.
Very long time.
Yeah.
And a long time. What's
Good stuff.
what's the drink that's traditionally with the Boddingtons? It's like a Boddingtons and something else.
More Boddingtons.
A glass, a Boddingtons and a glass. Yeah. I haven't had that in a long time. All right. Well, what else did we like from this place? Well, first, I do want to make sure we mention this brewery is 100% women owned and operated. Right? It is. I want to say 3 women that own it together. Their master brewer is a woman. That's really unique and something that's happening more and more. And something that we definitely like to talk about. We like to shout that out. We need more women in the industry because it's not anything that's inherently male. So there's no reason for it to be male dominated. Girls out there, if you're listening, go start a brewery. You can get into it, right? There's room for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now I think we got some food there too, didn't we?
We did.
What was that place?
It just came out of. I mean, we all saw the food cart out there.
Saw when we were coming in,
but we were, I would say 3/4 of the way through our beers.
Yeah,
and the smell hit me. Somebody ordered some food and came in.
Oh yeah,
it was such a good smell that even my stuffed up nose, I was just like, oh
yes.
Hey, we need to get some food.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're out here in the, eastern-ish Oregon. How far east are we? Pretty east?
I would say we're,
think we're
kind
still
of right in the
mid.
middle of
Yeah.
Oregon.
Are we high desert?
Yeah, we are.
High desert.
High desert-ish.
It's cold. It's really cold right now, and the
Yeah.
air is dry. And because of that, you get that. I mean, you could probably hear. I don't know. We're probably all sniffly. You get that
nasally.
dry sniffle, and and you can't smell anything. But as you said, I don't know what happened. If somebody brought some in, if somebody opened the door, and I just got hit right in the face with this delicious smell.
Yeah. What was the
IndoDaddy. IndoDaddy.
Yes, IndoDaddy. It was like an Indonesian fusion type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It was on point though. That fried chicken was
Oh my gosh. Perfectly cooked.
Oh, perfectly
wings.
cooked, perfectly
cooked.
seasoned.
Yes.
He gave us dipping sauce with it, and I almost felt like I was insulting him by like actually dipping it into the sauce.
Yeah.
Like it was just it.
They were on the wings on their own. They were absolutely.
What was on there? Because they were that yellowish like
Turmeric.
yeah.
I was gonna say turmeric was my was my thought for the yellow, but that maybe that's just a cop out because turmeric is just so yellow in general and orange.
Oftentimes when you see that yellow orange, that's what it's coming from. And but regardless, they were delicious wings, like you said, perfectly cooked.
Yeah, the best way to find out. We need
Ask
an
him.
interview.
Yeah, I really think so. And to get an interview, get this man on here, interrogate him about those wings.
Yeah,
They were good.
I haven't had wings that good in a
long time.
Yeah.
Like where they're cooked so well that every little last bit comes off perfectly from the bone. Like all you're
There
left
was
is
no
just
fight.
a dry bone. Yeah.
No fight in those wings whatsoever.
None.
They just were like, I'm giving up all the goodness.
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely good. And they had like a good amount of crisp to them and everything. And yeah, really good, flavorful.
I don't know what he put on top though. There was like, so he fried it, but then there was also like some like, I'm going to say food confetti that was stuffed on top.
Food fetty. Food
Confetti that was stuffed on top. And I have no idea what it was.
Yeah.
But it was also crunchy and it also added like a lot of like really interesting kind of like seasoning flavors that kind of came with it. It was almost like he didn't season the chicken when he was frying it so much as added it.
Yeah.
Fried the seasoning and then put it on top. And
Yeah. Well, and you know what's funny? Until you mentioned it right now, I'd completely forgotten about those little bits because I remember picking up the wing and seeing them going, oh, I wonder what that is, and took a bite, and I was like, oh my God, and just like scarfed down these wings, just totally disregarding everything because they were so good. They were really good. Yeah, outstanding. And then we got, what did we get? We got the
Pork wontons.
Yeah. And we got the lumpias.
Yes.
And now
Vegetable
lumpia, when I'm thinking of a lumpia, I'm thinking about like the thickness of your finger, or a little thicker than that. That's kind of what I think of when I think lumpia. And these weren't. These are
fat.
This was almost
fat egg roll looking
yeah.
things. Yeah.
Amazing, delicious.
Really good.
Like
also perfectly cooked, and like the vegetables inside were also like not overly cooked. I mean, like they like the peas in them still had that
and there was
proper like
assortment
crunch
of vegetables in there.
Yeah.
Where kind of your typical kind of veggie egg roll or lumpia, you have a hard time on telling what kind of veggies were in there.
Sure.
But this was, you could clearly see all the different vegetables that he packed in there.
Oh yeah, and it came with this kind of green sauce that I wasn't quite sure what it was.
Yeah.
And you just slap a little
Adds
bit
a little
on there,
spicy kick.
a little bit of kick. It was really nice. Then we also got that kind of red sauce, looked like a chili sauce.
Yeah, sweet chili.
That was good. I slapped some of that on a couple of things, and everything was really, really good.
Yes.
I was very happy with
Even the slaw that he had alongside the wings.
That's right. That coleslaw was good too. Savory, a lot of coleslaws.
Kind of going on the
sweet.
sweet side. Yeah, this is more of like a savory with a little bit of a tang.
Yeah, that was excellent. It wasn't too runny, not too wet like slaw can be sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. I feel like it was really fresh. Definitely excellent food. And that cart, was it cart or a truck? It was a cart, right?
It's cart, yeah.
And so he said that he used to do pop-ups move around, that he just recently locked in that spot over there at Spider City. So he's there every day, all day. Well, not all day. I mean, whenever he opens, but that's where his cart is. And so if you want to just cruise over to Spider City, he's going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to chase him around. So that's great.
And he also, I think he mentioned something about a special that was kind of like a beef. I kind of want to try that, but I didn't want to overdo it because I knew that we were going to be eating dinner in a couple hours. So.
Yeah.
Also, it was like 4 in the afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 in the afternoon is snack time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the pho sounded really good.
Yeah, it was like a meatball pho.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, listen, you're at the brewery, it's hard to eat soup, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, right? You have a beer, you're
like the items that we got, we were able to
Challenge
share them
accepted,
easily. I love you guys and everything, but I ain't trying to slurp off the same soup as you guys.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Yeah.
It's like a 1-player game.
Yeah. I mean, not anymore, right? We won't share soup again.
Everybody does it once.
Not after that incident. But no, soups, it's hard to share. But yeah, it was really good. All of that I thought was super delicious. I would definitely eat that food again. 100%. And honestly, if all the beers at Spider City weren't already good enough on their own for me to say, hey, go to Spider City, I would say go to Spider City to get this food, even if you don't like the beers. But again, as I said, Spider City, really good beers.
Killer beers.
Really good beers. And as you were saying, they've got that experimental set up. Look like a 1-barrel rig. They got their brew sculpture there, so they've got the full system going. And then they had like 4 or maybe 5.
It was 4 that were tucked off to the side.
Yeah, those little fermenters tucked off there. And then the rest of their setup was a pretty big setup. I think they may have been running, I don't know, looked like maybe 15-barrel fermenters. I wasn't quite sure, and I didn't really get into the details on production with them because none of the owners and anybody were there. So I don't want to get, I don't like to take the person who's serving the beers, who's clearly passionate, and be like,
taking up all of their time.
Let me ask you the hard questions here. It's like, all right, just take your beers and go sit down. But no, but it looked like they had a pretty good production going there, a good amount of capacity.
Absolutely,
so they could probably be turning out probably a few thousand barrels a year, I would imagine. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, definitely a good place. Stuff in cans, crowlers, bottles. We, in fact, have a barrel-aged peach sour.
Yeah.
That we've got tucked away there in a 22-ounce bomber. So, we'll break into that at some point, I'm sure. But, yeah, really good. Really good.
Very good place.
Let me see. What else did we break into today?
What was that? After Spider City, we took a little break, and then we headed over to the west side of town, and we went to... We're actually going to try to go to one place, but we couldn't find any parking
tomorrow.
And they were going to, I think we're going to hit them up tomorrow
for sure.
Ale Apothecary.
Yeah, Fox, you were like, listen, this is a unique name. I want to check this out. And as soon as you said it, we were like, oh, I'll bet they've got some creative brews.
They have to. Yeah. With a name like that, they've got to.
Yeah. So that we're all looking forward to that for tomorrow.
If not, just creative bonus points for having a cool name.
Yeah, right. They still just have the standard like IPAs and everybody. It's just
watch it be a Coors shop.
Boo.
I kid.
But we grabbed some food over right near there.
Bangers and Brews.
And apparently this is a spot they've got a couple of locations, right?
Yeah, they have one location that's been there for at least a few years in Eugene. And then I heard recently, I think that they're opening up another location near the University of Oregon campus. I didn't realize, I guess I'd forgot that they had a location here. And then when we go to look them up on Google Maps, they have 2 locations here.
That's right.
So they have one on the west side of town, which is where we went to, and then they have one on the east side of Bend.
Yeah.
Great variety of sausage. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And very unique ones as well.
Well, and there was one that was on the list that they were sold out of that we all wanted to try.
It was python and rabbit
sausage, man.
Did that basically the python ate the rabbit and then they killed
like
the python?
Like a turducken of python sandwich. Yeah, I get it.
A payuckin?
That's how you catch the python, you see, is you put a rabbit on a hook and you leave it out there and then you put it on a bobber and then you just wait until the python eats it and then you reel it in. And then you grind the whole thing into a sausage.
Land fishing. Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, the way the Native Americans did. I don't think they did.
No.
I don't think they did. They did not. But yeah, we really wanted to try that one. That looked really good. But they were sold out. But we did get to try reindeer
Reindeer.
Outstanding.
And apparently the reindeer meat just came in fresh from Alaska.
Literally
last
just
night.
came in.
It was Alaskan reindeer.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they got it in fresh last night. I'm not sure if that means they got the sausage in or they got the meat and then they made the sausage today. Either way,
Yes.
it was delicious. I'm sorry, Rudolph, but
Yeah.
I'll never look at you the same again.
The sausage was kind of red too, so maybe they got his nose in there.
They got his nose in there.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, there was a little bit of Santa's coat was in there as well for when they ripped the reindeer out of his cold hands. That was dark. that was dark. Sorry.
Sorry, kids. You're listening, which you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But if
shouldn't
you're
be.
listening with your parents.
A bunch of kids just with like snifters of,
Sniffing
Juice
around,
just sitting around.
Yeah.
twiddling around some stout.
That's right. That's
Reindeer, indubitably.
Candy. Indubitably.
But they had an alligator as well, which had a little bit of a Cajun
Spice to it.
seasoning to it.
Yeah.
And then we had, what do we have? Was it a wild boar?
There was a wild
boar
boar with
sausage.
cheddar and jalapeno.
Yeah.
With cheddar and jalapeno.
And then
then
a pheasant.
right.
Mushroom and Swiss.
Mushroom and
That's
Swiss.
right.
That was killer.
That was a good
I really
sausage
like
too.
that one too.
Yeah.
And then we get this place. You get to choose some sausage to go with your sausage.
Yeah.
As well as toppings. So they forgot to ask us about that.
Yes, they did.
When I got up to go get my water, she ran into me. She's like, "Oh, you guys I forgot to ask you what sauces you wanted and everything." I said, "Okay, well, curry ketchup."
Yeah.
Which little did I
Which
know, Travis-
ruined me on ketchup for the rest of my life.
I've
Thank
never
you
had
very
curry
much.
ketchup before.
I never had either.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was just you, Travis.
no,
that
I
never had it, but both of you had never had
No,
curry
had
I'm
ketchup
not a big
before.
fan of ketchup in general.
I'm not a fan of ketchup either.
Not a ketchup eater.
Except when I use
curry
it for
ketchup.
I was gonna say barbecue sauce bases because it's a real good cheat mechanism.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
a good cheat mechanism for a barbecue sauce. If you're making a meatloaf,
Yeah.
it's good in the meatloaf in your meat mix. That's
Yeah.
good. Some people like to put it on top for a glaze.
I kind of prefer to use barbecue sauce.
I was
for
gonna
glaze,
say,
but yeah.
Yeah.
To each his own. Like I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm not meatloaf shaming and just
Although, sidebar, good ketchup. There's a brand called Portlandia.
Really?
Yes. Guess where it's made.
I can only venture a guess.
Anyways, comes in a nice
Fresno.
nice glass bottle. Comes in a nice glass bottle with a wider mouth than your stupid Heinz 57.
Yes.
So it actually pours out
Oh,
properly.
so you don't have to slap it around to
yeah,
get
you don't
some
have
to
to
come
slap
out.
your ketchup around to get it to come out. And it's actually it's really good ketchup.
Yeah.
It's the only ketchup that I would actually use.
Yeah.
If I didn't have curry ketchup.
Yeah.
Which now thinking about it and talking about meatloaf, I kind of want to make some meatloaf with curry
With curry
ketchup.
ketchup on top. Yeah.
Yeah, that curry ketchup was excellent. It really was.
definitely.
It was good. I
It adds just enough of something to make it different, but also
Yeah.
very tasty.
yeah.
Definitely.
The for me the onions.
The caramelized onions.
Well, I want to say caramelized onions, but it was more of like
No, they were
caramelized French onion soup
Yes.
in a cup that you
in
could
a
just
little tin. Yeah.
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 Like, because when I took my bite, I was like, damn it, I want French onion soup now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those were good onions.
Yeah, they did a really good job, and I almost wonder if they did like the way you would do for French onion soup, where they used maybe like a little bit of beef stock or something, but they put the time in. They
Yeah.
caramelized those down slow and correctly, and man, they were good. I was not expecting how good those caramelized onions were going to be.
Yeah.
They were really good. Yeah.
And then I think that was all the sausage that we had, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then we had some fries with it was like a gorgonzola bacon fries.
Yeah.
was-
Yeah. With would it have an aioli on it or something? As
Yeah,
well?
we ended up finding out after the fact. Or I didn't realize it had an aioli.
Yeah.
in it. I wouldn't have ordered it if it did.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
But it's okay.
I'll live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll
you're
find
clearly
out.
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll see.
we'll see.
Yeah. Maybe
It's a
won't live.
50-50 chance, but if I die, I died happy
Yeah.
because
Okay.
I'm full of really good beer and really good food right now.
Really
so.
good beer and really good food.
Totally.
Yeah, and the people over at what was it, Bangers and Brews, right?
Yes.
Yeah, people were really great. There were two women that were there that were working. Both were really amazing.
Tisha and Tina.
There it is, Tisha and Tina. Really personable.
Yes.
Gave us some recommendations because we walked in. I had never been there before, and so my first question is always, "What do you recommend?" Right? Like this is your place. You know the stuff. You tell me. I'm not a professional
Which
here.
has got to be a super awkward question for literally everybody to answer, right?
It is.
Because it's such a personalized question in terms of what your tastes are. Then it's I've noticed it with like, at least with most places that I've gone to, if you ever ask the question of what do you recommend, usually they're reluctant to answer, and it almost like angers people to get asked that question because they don't want to make the decision for you, or they don't want to give the recommendation. But they were at least the lady we spoke to, I can't remember her name, but
That was Tisha.
That was Tisha.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was great. I mean, she had an answer.
These ones.
Like, yeah.
Perfect.
Oh yeah. She's like, these are my two favorites.
Yep.
Like, cool. That's what I want to know. What are your two favorites? And I am that way at breweries, right? What are you gonna have? A dealer's choice. What would you have, right? And I always ask, and the first question I get back is always, well, what do you like? Well, I like everything. That's why I said you choose, right? If I was narrow, I would have said, pick me an IPA or whatever like that. But I also understand that a lot of people come in and they have what do you recommend? And then they recommend three things. They go, I don't really like those kinds of beer. It's like, okay, cool, man. Well, what are we doing? You want to go outside and come back in? We'll start over. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
So I get it, but that's why one of the things I've tried to do now is instead of asking people what they recommend, I ask them, well, what would you order? Right? Like if I were on the other side of the bar and you were standing where I'm standing, what would you be ordering for me? And then they tell you, like, great, pour me one of those.
That's how we ended up with the Carolina Reaper IPA.
It is. Yes.
Spider. So.
Yeah.
Which I am very happy to have tried.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we got the recommendations on those sausages we were happy with as well.
Absolutely.
And it was good. It was really a good time. And we packed in a pretty full day.
We did.
Yeah.
Considering, we didn't even get into Bend until
This
2
was
o'clock.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I think we picked you up by like about 11:45 or so.
Yep.
And we got into Sisters by 12:30 or so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice half day.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, definitely not too bad. And, we've got definitely some crazy weather happening up in the Pacific Northwest. It was not too bad where we are here in Bend. We're in a little pocket. But I understand you all had to fight through some weather that,
it thankfully it wasn't coming down, but wow, driving through the Cascades, like the Santan Pass and everything, I hadn't seen it loaded up with that much snow in a while.
Yeah.
My truck looks like a totally different color.
Yeah.
Due to the great red rock that they put down on the ground to prevent icing over.
Okay. I was wondering what that was about. I'm like, there's red mud all over.
Yeah, I did not spin donuts anywhere. That was purely just the red rock that they put down on the road. Like California, they put down volcanic ash.
Yeah.
Other states, they use salt, which then rusts the shit out of the bottom of your car.
Yes, it does.
And here in Oregon, they put down this whatever red rock. I think it comes from the high desert here.
Yeah.
And when it gets wet and everything, it turns to a nice red mud that just cakes onto everything.
Yes, it does.
So it's a sight, though.
Yeah. Yeah. But, definitely it's crazy weather right now. Like I said, we're in this little pocket. It's cold. It's really cold.
It's only 29 degrees.
Only 29 degrees. Oh, my God. It's inhuman.
It's really not that bad.
It's really bad. I don't like it. Okay, I'm built for warmer weather, but it's not too bad. Every place we've gone into has been nice and warm. Good food, good beer. You can't really beat it.
It was nice to see how I didn't realize how dog friendly places are here. Yeah. Or like even at Bangers and Brew, they just had a pup down at the end of the bar there. I went and got some water. I was like, oh, can I pet your dog?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, but no. It's and same thing at Spider City. There was a couple of dogs in there as well. So,
yeah.
So, dogs aren't everybody's cup of tea, but I love dogs, so it's nice to see that they get to join in the fun.
Well, it's like we've said a number of times. We're living in really good times.
Yeah.
We're living in really good times where craft brew is taken off. There's a lot of variety. There are places everywhere, and they're also, for the most part, they are dog and family friendly, right? The days of, it being a place where I'm trying to say, I'm trying to say they're more family friendly.
Yeah.
Right? So it is a place that you can bring the young kids in and they can kind of play. You can bring babies in. You see
what I
more
liked
people
about-
doing it.
Yeah, that's what I liked about Bevel quite a bit was
there were a few kids there.
You could actually bring a family there and actually have things to do because there's that whole back area where it's like they can go throw discs, they can sit down by the fire, they can eat food and everything like that. There's a tap room, yes, and that is what as an adult you're there for. But I mean, it's like I wouldn't hesitate to bring my
Fun
family
for the
there.
whole family.
Fun
It
for the
is.
whole family.
And it's something that I've talked about with Dust Bowl before, that it's a place that Stephanie and I will go sometimes because we get there in the morning. They're open at 11. You hear that, breweries? Open at 11. Okay? Open the doors at 11. Some of us need a beer.
I mean, to be fair,
To be fair,
Dust Bowl location is like right in the middle of Tourist Central, where
Yes.
tourists start flowing through there around 10 or 11
Yes,
a.m.
they do.
So
But the great thing that we love about Dust Bowl is they've got their indoor and their outdoor area. And in the indoor, there's this area that has these kind of comfy swivel chairs and couches and things like that. And generally, what'll happen is around 11 to 12, something like that, some families start showing up. It's parents grabbing a beer, kids are there. We kind of all
gotta
work
get
together
loaded
to
up before you
corral
go to
them.
the aquarium.
Yes, you do, right? But we kind of all corral the kids there together. They get to play on the floor and run around and like that. And it really is a great place that it's like, okay, we can, grab a pint, get something to eat, and it's good for, having the kid too. So it's good, and more breweries are kind of doing that, and I like it. It's something that we as parents can participate in as well now. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
I wouldn't know because I don't have a kid yet.
But you have a dog.
Maybe.
Well,
We have dogs.
And
it's
have
a
the
valid point,
dogs.
though. I mean, both
totally.
demographics are
For sure.
isolated away from tasting because it's like you can't bring your dog there, but at the same time, like I can't bring my kid to a bar.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can, but then the police are there, and it's a whole thing.
CPS gets
Yeah,
called.
Yeah.
you could do anything once.
Yeah.
I think we've had this conversation earlier tonight. You could do anything once. Or you could do anything, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee it's a good idea. But it is nice to like start finding, like you're saying, it is nice to actually start finding places that are opening up that are a little bit more than just a bar to go drink beer at. It is a welcoming site to where you can actually sit down and feel comfortable. None of the places that we went to, I felt rushed to get out of. It wasn't like a transactional based. You come in here, you drink your beer, you get out.
Yeah.
They were all, you could tell like we could have sat in any one of those places for the rest of the night
For 5, 6
until
hours.
they closed 5-6 hours, maybe ordered a beer or two, and they probably would not have cared.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. It was definitely every place we went to definitely had that community, family, welcoming atmosphere. It was really great. And I definitely hope that continues as we go. I anticipate it will.
Yep.
Just because that's what we've found. I don't know that anytime recently I've run into a place that wasn't like that. I really feel like that's what craft beer is about. It's about community, as we've talked about so many times. And I love it. And that's why we're happy to be a part of it. Yeah. Well, what else, gentlemen? Is there anything else from today? That we hit all the notes and we're just
I think-
excited for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we've hit on everything. Did we decide that we're going to do a 2-part episode series to this thing? I feel like we should, probably just because, at this point we're already running at an hour.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should do one. As far as making promises, I don't want to do that because we may get back tomorrow and be like, we're exhausted. We're not doing it. But anyone listening today will think we're going to. So who knows? You'll have to wait and see.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're going to have a great day tomorrow. I'm excited for it.
For sure.
Looking forward to, the rest of this weekend with you too. And and just having some fun out here on the Hoppy Trail.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And congratulations again.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes. And Huey, big celebration, man.
Yeah, all kinds of partying coming up.
Yes. Yes, indeed. All right. Well, I think that's it for us. We don't have any announcements. Nick, what are our socials so everyone can hit us up?
Hoppy Trails Pod for Instagram.
Yep.
And what do we have? Like a contact at Hoppy Trails Pod.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. HoppyTrailsPod.com.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely hit us up. You go to HoppyTrailsPod.com. That'll take you over to our link tree, which has links to everything. And yeah, shoot us an email. Let us know what you're doing. And in fact, if you are out there on the Hoppy Trail yourself, if you went to a brewery that you really liked or drank some beers you like, grab your phone, record, a 30, 60, 120 second, just a little review and send it to us. We would love to get a trail report from our listeners and find out what else is out there and places maybe we need to go in the future. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, with that, remind you once again, always remember to say yes to the Hoppy Ending.
Always say yes to the Hoppy Ending.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The preceding podcast was produced by Sequoia Productions, LLC, copyright 2022, all rights reserved. If you enjoyed this show and you're looking for more, or even if you're looking for something a little different, check out the other amazing shows by Sequoia Productions, wherever you get your podcasts, or on sequoia.com.
Hoppy trails to brew until we drink again. Hoppy trails to brew. Keep sharing with your friends. Who cares about which IPA tastes better? ABV are just a couple letters. Hoppy trails to brews until we inhale.